All right, it is time to do some pickups, otherwise known as a book haul. A book haul. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm happy to be here with you today and share with you the books that I picked up in April. Now, these were predominantly Kindle books, predominantly free books, and but I did buy one physical copy, and it is yet again another book for the BookTube SFF Awards, which are coming to a close at the end of this month, and then there's going to be a week of voting and then the live show. Very excited about it. Although I will have to say I'm getting a little sad because it's becoming very clear that I will not be able to read all the books I set out to read. But I would like to finish off a couple of the categories, and I would like to also read the books that I bought, including this glorious title, and that is Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. This is up for Best Debut Novel, and it follows a band of mercenaries that are getting back together. Ex-mercenaries, long past, their glory days long past. The mercs have grown apart and grown old, fat, drunk, or a combination of the three. And it actually has. It's time to get the band back together. So like, yeah, and the boys are back in town. Like, all the little catchphrases and stuff like this really make me feel like I'm completely the target audience, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And as it is fantasy, it starts with a map. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. And yeah, so that is my one physical copy that I picked up this month. So I don't remember how I organized this. A lot of these were a bit of impulse purchases because they were free. I don't know if they're always free or perpetually free. Like the probably domain stuff probably will be. So I will leave a list of the books below if you want to check them out. But first up, what do we have? What do we have? Oh, classic. So okay, so this is actually a book I've already read. So this is Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë. I read this many years ago. I think it was in 2010 when I was getting back into reading, and I didn't like it like at all. So I'm curious about maybe rereading it just to see if I feel differently about it, because so many people, like, the love for this book is really strong, and I felt like, wow, I am missing out. I didn't connect to the story that much, but I also didn't connect to how it was told. I found it very confusing. I didn't understand what perspective we were getting information from. I didn't understand, like, when things were happening because it's told out of order, and so I found it very challenging. So anyway, but I might give it another shot, and it wasn't this edition. It wasn't the Penguin Classics that was free. It was the Wise House Classics, which actually I quite enjoy. So that's one that I picked up, and so I've already read that one. So yay, go me! I did it like 8 years ago, but still, go me, right? Anyway, next up, what do we have? Virginia Woolf's The Waves. I recently read A Room of One's Own and had had a complicated reaction to it. I think I did. There was lots that I appreciated with it, and there was lots I felt like I was missing from getting the cultural context. Oh, I talked about it in a Friday Reads, which I'll link above if you want to check out more about that. But I thought, now that I've read some nonfiction by her, that it would be a good time to read some fiction by her. Now, apparently this one is a bit experimental, so, I actually always love that. I don't feel, just to contrast what I just said about Wuthering Heights, I don't feel like I need to understand everything when reading it. I don't mind. I don't like being confused, but I don't mind not understanding. And yes, those are two different things. On to the next slide. Okay, next up we have Swann's Way by Marcel Proust. And it was this edition, an Amazon Classics edition. I had pre-ordered this. It was free. I don't do a lot of pre-ordering, so I thought I would test it out with some free books just to see sort of how it worked. And it worked well. It just popped up on my Kindle one day. It was actually kind of like, what? I don't remember that. And then I looked on my spreadsheet and I'm like, oh yeah, I pre-ordered it. So worked well. And this is actually, I think, the first of 8. Oh, actually, isn't it Amazon Classics? I wrote actually in my notes Aeterna Classics. So maybe it wasn't this edition. No, that was a different one. That's a different one. Sorry. So yes, it was an Amazon Classics. It is the first, I think, of 8 of a really, really, obviously 8. It's a really long series, but I think it's it's also not just lots of volumes, but voluminous. So I don't know very much about this. I haven't read any Proust to just see him quoted all the time with really wonderful quotes. So I thought, you know, free book is always a good way to check out an author. I could just repeat that after everyone coming. Next up we have, oh, I've read some of these before though. Agatha Christie. This is the first Poirot book, and it is The Mysterious Affair at Styles. And this one, I don't remember if it's this particular edition. Sometimes with really popular books, it's hard to get the image for the right one. I could have used Amazon. I went to Goodreads. I don't know. Anyway, so this one is Aeterna Classics is the particular edition. I was very surprised to see a free Agatha Christie like at all, let alone the first Poirot. I have read a couple of other Poirots. I read Sad Cypress, and I also read Murder on the Orient Express. And I didn't, to be honest, I didn't love either of them, but I thought, you know, going to the beginning is always a good place to start, so I thought I would check it out. And I do like having a couple of mysteries going around, like on my Kindle or wherever. It's not a genre I read that often, but I do like to incorporate it because it's got, I find the structure kind of fascinating. And so I do like to read them on occasion. Next up we have, oh, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This is a classic, and this is the one that I got, the Wise House Classics. I really enjoy their editions, and this is just one of those like cultural context nonfiction philosophy books that I just kind of feel like everyone should probably read just because it gets quoted a lot, and you know, it's not a subject I would say per se that I'm not interested in, but I think I like philosophy, and I don't read tons of it. And this one had it listed as not that many pages, which I was a little surprised at. So I don't know when I will get to reading this one, but I thought I would pick it up. And it's always nice to have a free edition for from a publisher that I appreciate, enjoy. It's not the word I'm looking for. Feel confident in. So yeah, so I picked that one up. Next up, oh, this one, I was so surprised to see this one that was free, The Year We Fell Down by Sabrina Bowen. This is the first in a series, which I didn't write down, and it is a romance, a contemporary, new adults, I think, romance, and both of the protagonists, I believe, had disabilities, or one, I don't know exactly the form. I've heard a couple of people talk about it in different ways, and I think it's the female protagonist gets injured or becomes disabled, and she talks with the guy, and that's where the relationship comes from. So I was really curious to check this one out, yeah, so this, because I've heard a lot of people talking about, I heard at least one person talking about it, and it just got me curious in terms of representation, and so I thought I would check it out, and free is always good way to check things out. So there we go. Then we have Kiss Me Quick by Ali Blake. This is I think it's the first in the Cinderella project, not too sure. So now we get into the romancy books, and I really liked another book by Ali Blake that I read a couple years ago called The Dance Off. It was so much fun. It was part of the Harlequin Kiss line. So sad that they retired that line. I really enjoyed it. It had really strong female characters, so I am hoping that this one will as well. It's a contemporary romance, and so yeah, I hope to check that one out. Next up we have The Hooker and the Hermit by L.H. Cosway and Penny Reid. So I think I've picked up a couple of rugby romances, but I haven't read any of them yet. So The Hooker, if you're unfamiliar, a hooker is someone, is a position in rugby. It's the forward center, often someone who is shorter position in rugby. I played rugby in high school, so anything rugby I'm always interested in, and I think the premise is he's a rugby player and she's a matchmaker or works for a matchmaking company or something like that. It's another contemporary romance, looks pretty lighthearted, and there are a lot of sports romances out there, and I actually have not read almost any. I think I've read one where there was an MMA fighter, and that's it. So one time I got to start reading the rugby romances. Maybe I should make a list of all the subgenres of romance and work through it instead of just keeping buying more or picking up more. Again, this was free. Next up we have Stay With Me by J.H. Croix? Not sure. This is another Last Frontier Lodge novel. These often go on sale, and I haven't read any of them yet, but I have, I think, like the first and the third and the fourth, and then there's a holiday one, and I think this one is the fifth one. So anytime I see them go like for sale for free, I just pick them up. So I have, again, another series that I have to start. I should have a start a series jar. Would that be dangerous? Dangerous fun? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so this is another from the Last Frontier Lodge series. Next up, we have Broken Little Melodies by Jennifer Ahn, and this is the only standalone in terms of the romances. Yes, finally a standalone. This is, of course, maybe not by the picture, but from, oh yeah, there's some musical notes here. This is music based romance, contemporary romance. So I haven't read any from that subgenre either. Oh my gosh, I feel like obviously I haven't read this stuff. It's stuff that I just bought. I don't have to have any guilt on that. So, but in fact, a standalone romance is actually awesome because so many, just like fantasy and mystery, so many are part of really long series. So yay for standalone. Next up we have Teach Me by Ella Sheridan. This is another, I think this is another music one. Kind of looks more like a biker one because there's a bike. Some lessons threaten your heart and some threaten your life. Okay, so this must be a romantic suspense. I didn't write any notes on this one. Yeah, so there's another one. It's the beginning of a series. I bet. Yeah, it's only standalone. Okay, and then another one is A Beautiful Mess by T.K. Lee, book one in the Beautiful Mess series. This one, from the image on Amazon, I had so much trouble understanding the body positioning here because of the sweater and the seam of the sweater, but that's her shoulder and her hands on her shoulder and her facing down. It took me so long to figure it out. I don't know why. I got a little obsessed with that. So this one is another romantic suspense novel, I think. Very much feels like that. And then we get into some historical fun. This one's Lady Danger by Gwendolyn Campbell, writing as Sarah McCarrigan. And this is the first in the Warrior Maids of Rivenlock, and this one is about warrior women, historical romance. Yes. Easy yes. Definitely want to check this one out. Just got a sword. Just castle in the background. It's all good. It's all good. And next up we have Highland Sorcerer by Clover Autry, and this one is a time travel romance. I am not sure if Highland Sorcerer, I think she's the sorcerer, so I don't know. Usually it's the women that go back in time, but I think maybe she comes to the future. Not sure. She's a sorcerer, time travel romance, easy yes, easy yes. And then this one, Wild Hearts, this by Kimber White. This is a wolf shifter romance. And this one I was actually a little bit confused on because it is, obviously it's a werewolf shifter romance. It's set in the 60s, and I couldn't tell if it's in the middle of a series or if it's sort of like a flashback, prequel, something. So, because I saw it listed in a couple of different ways. Often with long romance series, you can read them standalone. So, but I'm not sure about how this one works. So it's the Wild Lake Wolves prequel. It says prequel there, but somewhere it was listed that it was like in the series. But shifter romance, again, easy yes. And then we have Sorceress Awakening, a gargoyle and sorceress novel. You totally had me at gargoyle. That was it. Gargoyle, it was like, yes, yes. So I don't see a gargoyle, but I'm sure there will be a gargoyle. So it's paranormal romance or urban fantasy, depending on where and when it is set and how the series work. It is the first in series, and I'm excited about that one too. So, and I think that is it. That is my long haul. I forgot to write how many books there were. It felt like about 6,319. I think maybe it was about 10 Kindle books. Who knows? I don't know. I'll write it below. And then, of course, Kings of the Wyld. So let me know, have you picked up any of those books? Do you, like me, have moments where your resistances are down and you just click buy for ebooks? I love browsing Amazon Kindle freebies. I love it. And if you don't, I'll leave a direct link for the URL that I use that I actually got from Amazon when I accidentally bought something that I thought was free, and they're like, use this link, and I was like, I will. So I do, and I don't, I love looking at free stuff, and it's like, all of the joy of shopping without any of the pain. So, but a lot are first in series, a lot are public domain, and so yeah, and so hopefully that was a nice, well-rounded, interesting haul. Let me know what you picked up recently, and I will talk to you in my next video.